Don't you think it's about time for a podcast that's more fulfilling? One that's about the vibrant exchange of ideas and perspectives that happens when we actually come together. We got you covered. Welcome to the Deep Blue Project, where the depths of conversation meet the waves of personal experience. This is a real, raw, and unscripted show about everything from leadership lessons to self-awareness, wellness, and the latest current events. We cover it all. We have a rotating cast of guests as we share our personal stories, insights, and opinions on the issues that matter most. Plus, we have a blast while doing it. The Deep Blue Project. It's not just a podcast, it's an experience. And now your host, Chris Workman.
It's been a crazy couple of weeks because I have been traveling a little bit. And I know in this day and age, we're able to kind of record in different places. But I wanted to come back at you this week because I have the opportunity to be at National Police Week. And for those of you who have never been to Police Week, I have to tell you that it's something that's an amazing experience, I guess is the easy way to put it. I mean, this is one of the most significant weeks in our nation's calendar. Because National Police Week, whether you wear a badge, love someone who does, or are just simply in town to show your respect, your presence here speaks volumes. So I want to take a break for a moment and just say, we have to honor those. And I want to take a moment for you to just think about what this means as people, have given their lives to protecting and serving others. So we'll do a little moment of silence and then we'll kind of get into it. Thank you all. Appreciate it. So this week in the heart of our nation's capital, something really, really, really powerful is happening. I mean, police officers from across the United States and around the world gather here in D.C. Not for a parade, it's not for politics, but for a promise. And that promise is that we will never forget those who gave everything to protect and serve. So to give you a little history here, National Police Week was established in 1962 when President John F. Kennedy signed a proclamation designating May 15th, which will be tomorrow, because I'm recording this on the 14th, so tomorrow, as Peace Officers Memorial Day. Since then, the week surrounding it has become a living tribute, not just to the fallen, but to the brave men and women who continue to serve every single day without thanks and often at great personal risk. So last night is probably what I think is one of the most moving portions of Police Week. And in all my years, I finally got to come and be here last year when a good friend of mine's son, name was placed on the wall. And it was probably one of the most moving experiences I have ever been a part of. Just imagine you're standing in silence with thousands and thousands of others, each person holding a candle, the flickering light reflecting off their faces, the names of the fallen echoing across the National Mall as individuals speak the names of every person who lost their lives in the previous year. That is what the candlelight vigil is. It's an emotional heartbeat of the National Police Week. Now, this vigil is held every year on May 13th at the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial. It begins as the sun sets and darkness falls and a light over 30,000 plus candles begin to rise. Every one of those candles represents a life. It represents a story, a family, a personal loss that each one has remembrance of. And there's a sacred stillness during that moment. No one says a word. The glow of the candles, the solemn reading of the names, it's more eloquent than anything could ever be, in my belief. I mean, these names are inscribed on the wall. They're not just statistics. They are officers who responded to calls, and they didn't know that would be their last. They're deputies who pulled over cars, not knowing what awaited them. They're detectives, troopers, agents, mothers, fathers, sons, daughters, who stood between danger and the public and paid the ultimate price. And during this vigil, you feel their presence there. You see their families. Some standing stoically, others openly weeping, people with photos, memories. You watch as survivors support one another. Strangers are instantly connected. You begin to realize it's not just a ceremony, it's a sacred act of remembrance. And we do this every year. And they deserve that. So, one of the things I say is Police Week has become, I guess, an integral part. And I wish I would have done it. I wish I would have done it much sooner in my career. So if you're a young officer, or if you're a leader who has an opportunity to send your young officers to Police Week, please send them. Please do it early in their career, because it is something that they'll never ever forget. I mean, one of the most amazing things about Police Week is it's just not national, it is global. Officers from around the world come to Washington, D.C., not as representatives of a country or a nation. They come as brothers and sisters in blue. They are here because they are police officers. They are Mounties. They are Bobbies. They are from everywhere. You see officers in every kind of uniform, from precincts in rural America to major cities like New York, Chicago, Philadelphia, Los Angeles. But you also see officers from London, Metropolitan Police, from Germany, Canada, Australia, Japan. I mean, I could name pretty much every country, and they come from there. And they're part of this ceremony, and they're part of this week. They may come to pay tribute to a fellow officer. Some may come to show their solidarity. And what's moving is how quickly friendships form. Like, there may be language barriers, there may be cultural differences, but the shared mission is to serve and protect, and it bridges every single gap. People talk to each other, they converse, they share stories, they talk about loved ones. And conversations during Police Week are pretty profound. I mean, you hear officers talk about how policing is changing, how communities are evolving, how the job has become more complex and more dangerous no matter where they are. Yet, despite the challenges, there is a common thread that we all discuss. It's a sense of duty, it's the pride in the badge, and the respect for the sacrifice. Police Week offers a lot of spaces to connect. The very beginning, one of my favorites is the Police Unity Tour, where riders bike hundreds of miles to the memorial to honor the fallen, and they make that trek into the memorial on their bicycles, just stream after stream after stream of bikes and law enforcement officers who have rode miles and miles and miles. the law ride where officers on motorcycles go through the city. It is amazing to watch. There's seminars on officer wellness and resilience. And the biggest thing, the most important thing I think of this whole thing is the support that everyone provides the survivors and the families and the friends that are here to honor those who have passed, to honor those who were killed in the line of duty. Their families who come here every year. They were brought here, unfortunately, by a death that impacted them and their families. And it may have happened years and years and years ago, but they come back every year to help support the others who are dealing with that now, that it's new to them. You know, it was great at the candlelight vigil last night because the president of the cops concerns of police survivors, Connie, is very, very, very nice, and she spoke of something, and it was neat how she kind of put it in her remarks to the gallery. Was, you know, having someone taken away from you, having the death of a loved one, having a police officer who was killed in the line of duty affects these families in such a profound way that it's like seasons. She said, and I never really looked at it that way, so it kind of made me really pause and say, you know, we always think of winter as, you know, the death of things, as trees lose their leaves and it becomes ominous and we have the snow and everything is kind of dreary a lot of times. And, you know, losing a loved one or having an officer killed in the line of duty and taken from you is kind of like that for a while. You know, but through support and through time, you know, that changes, because as the winter goes away and spring comes, the trees start blooming, you see more sun. You know, it's a cycle though. And I thought that was very moving and something that really struck me and will probably, you know, reign in my brain for quite a while. I mean, we can't bring back those we've lost. But I think to the point is we can ensure their memory lives on. And those families that are left behind are never alone. So while I talked about a lot of things, I mean, I think that's where the real work of national police work comes into focus. Because once you get past the ceremonies and the gatherings, it's a deep network of support for survivors, active officers, and the families who have to carry on and remember those loved ones who were lost. You know, organizations like the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund and the Concerns of Police Survivors do year-round work to care for all of those who are left behind. I have a good friend of mine, and being from the state of Delaware, Eleanor Allione, who's the president of Delaware Cops. I've watched her in 20 some years of being a police officer in Delaware and how she has taken the loss of her daughter and spent her time and her effort to help others throughout the years in just the state of Delaware alone. So So for a lot of you who may not know, and I know it's possible that you don't know, that the concerns of police survivors or cops provides counseling, they do retreats, and they support groups for spouses, parents, brothers and sisters, and children of fallen officers. They help them learn to cope and deal with this loss. And they're a connection point for them. They're a place that they can go when those hard times or those winters, come into play, because every day is a remembrance for them. So the Memorial Fund, they maintain the physical monument in DC, but they also try to put out information and educate the public and raise awareness about the risks that officers face daily. And during Police Week, you see a lot of the support for these families. Children of fallen officers participate in a kids and teens program. They build friendships with others who understand their loss. They create their own little network. Spouses gather for remembrance walks and healing circles and conversations, and making those connections themselves. People they can talk to when they face the dark times. And survivors share their stories. And the stories hurt, but they also heal. And Police Week is also mainly about the wellness of those still serving. We often talk about a lot of the things that we discuss here on the Deep Blue Project, and a lot of our friends talk about. And that's, you have officer suicide, trauma, burnout. I mean, these are real. They're growing issues in law enforcement. And events now focus not just on honoring sacrifice, but trying to prevent future ones. We always talk about this, saying supporting our law enforcement doesn't mean ignoring their humanity. It means recognizing that they are human. Understanding and seeing the weight of this job, listening, helping, and showing up like you're doing right now as you listen to the Deep Blue Project and the things that we talk about here, the support of others. I remember having a conversation with a guy. I'm actually happened to stay in a hotel where a lot of the police unity tour had came and stayed, and had a chance to talk with a couple of them over the last day and a half or so. And I met an officer. His name was Jeremy. He was from New Mexico, and he rid in the police unity tour to honor his partner, who had been killed responded to a domestic call. Now, Jeremy told me, he goes, I ride every year so John's name is never forgotten. It's not about me. It's about keeping his memory alive. And he said those words with tears in his eyes and a strength I'll never forget. That's just a small piece of the stories that are everywhere during National Police Week. They live in the small conversations, the hugs between strangers, the silent moments staring at a name on the wall, the handshakes, the I love you brothers, the stay safe, to always be careful, to always be safe. That happens, and we mean it when we do it. If you've ever doubted the power of remembrance, just go to one vigil. As I stated in the beginning, it will change everything for you. So one of the things that we talk about in this as we started was the candlelight vigil. And last night I was so happy that the rain and the wind stopped or seemed to slow just for that short period of time so that we can get the candles lit. I mean, it wasn't long, but it was enough. It was long enough. It was nice that we were able to do that, and you could still see the thousands of candles illuminating the area of the National Mall. And it's just a moment of time. But I think that what I think about all of that, and then as the candles get extinguished each year, their glow, the thought, everything stays with us. It reminds us that while the badge may be heavy, none of us carries it alone, and we need to remember that. So I think we need to reflect on the fact that we need to let us honor the fallen. And for those that are of us that are still here, it's not just by words, it's by actions. We need to support their families each and every day. We need to take care of our police officers while they're with us. We need to support each other. And we got to build trust between the communities and those of us who serve them, because knowledge is power. And a lot of this is getting the knowledge out of what we as police officers, as first responders, deal with every single day. And let us remember every day that behind every uniform is a human being. And behind every fallen name is a legacy that we are duty bound to preserve. Thanks for joining me today, guys. I know this is a solemn moment, but it is a moment for us to continue to support our brothers and sisters and to support our officers and to keep that legacy and honor of those who have gone before us alive. So please stay safe out there. Always remember those who have gone before us. And take care of your brothers and sisters, because they need us as much as we need them. So I hope to see you soon. Thank you for listening to today's Deep Blue podcast. We will be back. We will be back very shortly. We have a great bunch of guests lined up coming up, and we are ready to hit the ground running as this year progresses. So take care. And we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Deep Blue Project. As a father, husband, friend, and someone who loves to chat about anything and everything, Chris brings over 3 decades of public service experience to the table. With a background in firefighting and law enforcement, along with degrees in criminal justice and behavioral science, he's seen it all, and he's learned a thing or two along the way. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on LinkedIn and X at Deep Blue Project. Find our website at deepblueproject.com. And to reach out, send an email to deepblueproject@outlook.com. Keep keeping it real. And we'll see you next time on the Deep Blue Project.